What is up, dudes and lady dudes? Welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today I'm showing you another deck profile. This time we're going back to World Chalice. This is a really cool deck right now, and I really think it's better than people think it is too. So obviously the deck's not, tier 1 or anything, but I do think it's really cool. And before you get worried, also, I'm not playing the full wombo combo version. If you saw my last deck profile, it was more of a what I would call more of a mid-range control-y version of World Chalice. This is not that. This is much more combo-y than that list, but it's still not full wombo combo. We're not playing like the Kaiju package with Kyoto Waterfront and stuff. We're not playing the full draw 6 combo, like +6, +10, +11 combos that this deck is capable of doing. I just think to do those combos, you have to allocate like 13 cards in your extra deck to them, and they don't even like contribute to like what your actual end board is. They just contribute to drawing cards and then having bodies that are essentially vanillas at that point. But at that point, you're like, okay, I've got vanillas, but how do I actually get to a real end board? And so that's where I have problems with that kind of lineup. And I don't want to do 10-minute combos. I want to do better, cooler, like more interesting combos that and also have awesome follow-up plays for the following turn. So that's my thought process behind this list. If you like this mat, by the way, and you think it looks dope, it has Crusadia Equimex on this side, Gears for the Orcus Mech Knight on the other side. Very clean, double-sided mat. I'll have it in the link in the description below. It's and a 10% code, just 10 if you want to get 10% off of this beautiful mat. Thank you so much if you want to get it. If not, no big deal. Let's get into this dang deck real quick. All right, so starting here with the World Chalice monsters, obviously 3 of Lee, the World Chalice Fairy. She is your Stratos. She just says on normal or special summon, add a World Chalice monster from deck to hand. Then you have 3 copies of World Legacy World Chalice. This card's insane. This card's like the best World Chalice card in the main deck. It just says if it's normal summon, it's all 5, so you do need a tribute for it. And then it's sent from the field to the graveyard. You get to special summon 2 World Chalice monsters straight from the deck. That's insane. And on the next turn after this card was sent to the graveyard, you can just banish it to add a World Legacy card from deck to hand, which is also very good for follow-up plays. Then we have 2 copies of World Chalice Guard Dragon. Very cool card. It's a hand trap from hand. It says any linked card that's targeted by a card effect, you can discard this card to negate and destroy that card. And then you can banish it from grave to revive a vanilla monster. Speaking of which, we have 2 copies of Beckoned by the World Chalice and 2 copies of Chosen by the World Chalice, rounding out our World Chalice monster lineup. These are just there for specific reasons. Like this guy's just bigger, so he's technically just better. But this guy can be E-Tellied out, so he's a Psychic, level 3. So that adds another really nasty extender to the deck just by playing this card, and it's cool that way. So there we go. That is everything for the World Chalice monsters. You don't go too crazy, just 12 cards, but they get the job done. They really do. Opening vanillas in this deck is really good, by the way. If you don't really know much about World Chalice, you can combo off with just vanillas in hand. Straight up. It's crazy. All right, and then for like the insane cards, 3 Venus and 3 Shine Balls. Sorry they're commons, but it is what it is. We balling on a budget right now. These cards are insane. If you don't know how Venus works, you can not once per turn pay 500 to special summon a Shine Ball out of the deck or hand. And yeah, so the idea is you play this with cards that can even potentially shuffle this back. That way you can just activate her 3 more times, get 3 more bodies on board, continue to link like crazy. So this combo is insane. If you summon her and your opponent does not have a hand trap for her, you're doing everything. Oh, my camera's freezing real quick. That'll just take a sec. Sorry about that. But yeah, it's just insane. Like you can just, she gives you so much link material. She is the best normal summon in the deck, hands down. All right, moving on to some additional extenders and weird cool cards that we'll go through. 3 copies of Exodius, the Ultimate Forbidden Lord. This card's really cool. If you don't know how this card works, he summons himself from the hand by shuffling every monster in your graveyard back into the deck. That is extra deck monsters, main deck monsters, everything. So he helps you reset your Shine Balls so that Venus can just resolve 3 more times and continue to allow you to link off. He is a body on the board. He gains 1,000 attack for every vanilla monster in grave, and when he attacks, you can just Foolish Burial any monster from your deck to the grave. So whether you just want to send a vanilla to give him an additional couple thousand attack, or if you want to send just a card you want in grave, gives you some graveyard synergy, you can also do that because he can send anything, not just vanillas. So he's a really, really nasty extender in this deck. I really, really like him, and he's amazing. And he's great for the grind game, too. Your opponent may think, like, oh, he's all the way through his extra deck. And then you just drop this guy, and he shuffles everything back. You just reset your entire game, and now you can just, like, continue to play indefinitely, essentially. So, insane. All right, and then for a couple of, like, sort of brick cards, we have 1 copy of Eva, 1 copy of Herald of the Orange Light, and 1 copy of Trickstar Lilybell. So these are a weird little specific package here. Essentially, these are here just for Eva. Eva says that when she's sent to the graveyard, you can banish up to 2 fairy monsters in your grave, light fairy monsters in grave, and then search that many light fairy monsters that are level 2 or lower directly from your deck to your hand. So essentially she's trying to set you up for one of 2 things. She can either just search you Lilybell, which just says when she's added to the hand, she can special summon herself. So she's just an extender, or you search Arclight and another card, or if you already had a fairy. Depends on what you have set up in grave, but search this with another fairy, and then this is just like essentially Gamma. It just negates and destroys a monster when it activates its effect. From the hand, it's a hand trap like that, and that's actually pretty strong. Like, throw that on top of whatever your board is, and your board's looking pretty crazy. So yeah, some pretty cool extenders. Drawing Lilybell kind of stinks. Drawing Herald isn't always the worst, because we do actually have like 9 different fairies, right? We have like 1, 2, 3, the 3 Shine Balls, the 3 Venus, which is 9, and we have the 3 Lee, the World Chalice Fairy. So technically we have 11 other cards that you can like open with this and still be able to use, which is kind of crazy. That's even a thing. And you better believe, if Valor was a fairy, you better believe I'd be playing 3 Valor, but it's not, so whatever. And then as far as the actual hand traps go, I don't play a ton, but I am playing 3 Ash and 2 Ogre. Ogre is an additional E-Telly target. That's kind of cool, because people don't know that you can use Ogre on the field as well as in the hand, so that's can be an extra disruption. And then Ash is just Ash. I don't play a ton of hand traps, but I think the deck is already actually better than past versions that I've built as far as playing through disruption, so I don't hate not playing a ton of hand traps. Plus, the new ban list just wrecked the biggest, most degenerate combo decks in the game, so I'm not as scared to go second at the moment. And so yeah, minimal hand traps, and you can side more if you want. All right, that is it for the monsters there. Pretty plain and simple. I'm not playing extra extenders like Tendy Spirited Hara, or I don't even know what else. Like just tuner extenders to try and go into Hulk, because I'm not playing that stuff. I don't think it's worth it in the deck, and I'll explain that at the end. But yeah, okay. This card right here, Transmodify. This card's insane. This card essentially is Venus Turbo. You're just trying to turbo Venus straight out of the deck, because if you go and look, Lee is a level 2 light fairy. Cool. Also, Shine Ball is a level 2 light fairy. So if you open Shine Ball but not Venus, boom, that's how you get to it. Let's see. Herald of the Orange Light is a level 2 light fairy, and Lilybell herself is a level 2 light fairy. So right there, I just showed you 8 different level 2 light fairies, but you can't even look at it that way, because like Legacy World Chalice special summons Lee out of the deck, so that's another card that just gets you to access to that kind of card. Let's see, what else? I know there's another one. Like, technically, Eva gets you a search for Transmodify, and we have other extenders I'll show you in a sec that are also cards that get you access to one of those level 2 light fairies. So even though there's only technically 8 hard copies of cards that this can work on, you have actually more like 20. So it's very consistent at being able to get you to Venus. So hopefully if you draw it, you don't have Venus, but if you draw it with Venus, it's fine, right? Like, it's not the end of the world. It could be worse, right? All right, so coming up next, we have 3 copies of the only card I'm missing out of the main deck. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm missing one other card. This is Unexpected Die. I do actually have them. Mike's just had them for a while for Glad Beast stuff, but I do miss them, and they're very good in this deck, because if this card just summons a vanilla if you have no monsters on your field, which is very, very good. Just puts a vanilla on field before your normal summon. This is another 3 of a card that can just get you to Shine Ball, which then makes Transmodify insane if need be. So just keep that in mind. Very, very good. Very, very strong. If not, you're just summoning a vanilla, and it's just going to allow you, it's just going to be an extra body extender that allows you to play through Disruption or just go combo if you needed it. Next up, 2 copies of Pot of Avarice. This card is really good in the deck. I thought about playing 3. At the last second, I opted to only play 2. I understand why you would play 3. I just felt like I was seeing hands where I would open 2 of this, and I would literally just look at my hand and just be like, I can't do anything. Because I wouldn't even have a hand that can combo. I don't even have a hand that can put 5 monsters in grave, and then these are just completely dead. Or I had a hand that like wasn't bad, but I'd get hand trapped once or twice, not be able to put 5 monsters in grave, and then I just like pass and get OTK'd. So this card is like very, very good. You just don't want to oversee it in the deck. But it is a really good card with like Venus, right? You go Venus, you know, link summon a bunch of times, and then you can use this to just get Venus, get the Shine Balls loaded back, and then just continue to summon them out, which is really strong. For some World Legacy cards, I played 2 copies of World Legacy Succession and 1 copy of World Legacy's Heart. Succession's just insane. We all know that. I almost wanted to play 3 of it, but I decided against it at the end of the day. Still a very good card, though. I want to, like, sometimes I want to just open it, use it turn 1, and then still be able to search out the second one with the lib and as a follow-up for turn 2. It's just insane. And then Heart's really good to just get World Chalice monsters back to your hand from grave and give you some battle protection that can, like, randomly come up. So that's not bad either, but really, really strong either way. It's also really good with stuff like if you have Herald of the Orange Light in grave. You almost always go through Lee as part of your combo, and that just adds Lee and another card back to your hand, which then sets you up to make your Orange Light live. So there's a lot of like niche interactions like that that are actually pretty cool. Or you can add back a World Chalice Guard Dragon, which just gives you targeting protection to your linked monsters, which is really nice. And there's a lot of little niche things, depends on what you want in whatever situation, that could be really nice to add back. And then for the last 2 spells, I have Monster Reborn and E-Tele. These are just insane extenders. These are like probably the 2 best extenders in the deck, just because they're so versatile, right? Like, not that they're like, it's not even that they're super versatile. It's that they're versatile in the sense that like Unexpected Die has to be like the first thing you do. Pot of Avarice has to be activated after you filled up your graveyard. Succession needs a link monster. World Legacy Heart needs monsters in grave. So as far as just like spells go, these are the most versatile freelance extenders in your whole deck. They're almost always live after very minimal actions, and it just allows you to, you know, continue your plays through Disruption. So they're very good. I wouldn't play the deck without them, to be honest. And then for the traps, I'm on 3 copies of Shade Brigandine, 1 World Legacy Sorrow, and 1 World Legacy Awakens. Okay, so pretty simple here. Shade Brigandine, same thing as like we said before. Same thing as like Unexpected Die. It's just an extra vanilla on the field that doesn't take your normal. So if you open this and Unexpected Die and a normal summon, you're playing through Disruptions, you're going full combo, like the decks, and you feel insane, right? So definitely a big fan of this card. I don't know if 3 is absolutely necessary, but 3's been good for me. I'm playing, I think this is 47 cards. You guys can check me on that, but I think it's 47 cards in the main. And then you have these 2. These are your lib search targets a lot of the time, especially turn 1, just trying to set up Disruption. This is an Omni Negate as long as you control co-linked monsters, and this is a card that allows you to quick link summon on your opponent's turn, which can just help you make either Unicorn, Avermax, or I don't know, what's another, Appaloosa potentially, on your opponent's turn, which can all have their individual goodness. Oh, camera's freezing again because it does that randomly. But yeah, these are both really good. Don't sleep on them. Just 1-in-1 for now. I don't really see a point. I'm just going to brick on them more if I play more than 1-in-1. The deck's great after turn 1. You're just trying to keep your opponent from like destroying you on that second turn, which is important. But that is it for the main. Like I said, I think it's 47 cards. I think it was 48, and then I took out the 3rd Avarice, and now we're at 47, which is pretty good. Which takes us into our extra deck here. For the Link ones, I play 2 Imduk, the World Chalice Dragon, 1 Link Spider, and 1 Salamangreat Almirage. They all come up in their own ways. Imduk is the most important one because he gives you an additional normal for a World Chalice monster, which is very, very huge. Lets you like get an extra summon for your Chalice so that you can just tribute summon over him to then get Chalice on field and then, you know, get double special summons from deck off of him. Link Spider is very important. Sometimes you just open a hand with a lot of normal monsters, so Link Spider is just very important to help pull extra extenders out of the hand. And then Almirage. I almost didn't play this card, but I just feel like there can be certain hands where you open like World Chalice, and you can like get him on the board, but you couldn't even get him off the board because you couldn't even summon another body, right? So in those hands specifically where you just open like Chalice plus Shade or Chalice plus like what's the other one? A normal monster, or Chalice plus Unexpected Die, you would be able to just tribute, like summon something, make this, or Imduk, like tribute summon for him, and then go into Almirage to then just trigger his effect engrave, get 2 bodies on the field, and then you actually have a mini combo there. So it just makes your deck a little more consistent, just makes you brick a little bit less in weird hands like that. So I thought that was worth playing. I wanted to focus more on being able to combo as often as possible, just being able to play, and not as much on the ceiling of the deck, although I do think the ceiling is still pretty decent. 2 copies of Lib. Chris has my other one for Trickstar Mech Knights, lol. But yeah, this card's insane. This is like the crux of how I built my deck. This is the MVP of everything. Your whole end board is all predicated on this card. If you don't know what she does, she cannot be summoned unless you already have a World Legacy card engraved, like World Legacy, World Chalice, or Succession, or either of the traps, or Heart. So you have a couple cards that open it, but your engine gets you like to those cards. So it's very easy to set those up. She says once per turn you can just set any World Legacy card from the deck. And it can be activated if it is, if you do have a World Legacy monster in grave, which is very important. And then the other effect it has is when it's linked off, it's used as link material for a link summon, you can non-targeting shuffle any card your opponent controls back into their deck. That is absolutely insane. You do that on your opponent's turn as disruption, then you can do it again on the follow-up just to clear their board as you're linking up into like an access code, and then you're just killing. You're just killing your opponent, no problem, no questions asked, it's over, right? This card's insane. I love 2 of it, even though we still play like the Exodius and the Avarice and everything. 2 of it is mandatory if you're playing this kind of build and focusing more so on it. Alright, for some random cards, 1 Union Carrier. This card's very cool just to equip Eva to a Shine Ball, then link off the Shine Ball, and then get Eva's effect to give you a free search or 2, which is very strong. So it comes up specifically for that. Can come up in other situations too. It does have actually randomly good arrows for what the deck likes to do. So it can come up just to have good arrows as well. And just give something like 1,000 buff if we want. There. Next up we have 1 IP Masquerena. This card's insane, so you make this next to your Lib, then you can quick link this and Lib on your opponent's turn to get the Lib's shuffle, and then you can go into like multiple different things depending on the situation, as well as Nightmare, Cerberus, Phoenix, and Unicorn. I know Cerberus is pretty weak just in general, you know, power creep wise, but its arrows do come up, and at least it has like an effect that can be decent in certain situations, so that's the main thing there, as well as I'm trying, if I can, to like co-link Unicorn as much as possible, so he's very good at that. Sometimes you are even able to set up this, like literally just like 1, 2, 3. Now we're drawing, you know, at least I think we're drawing like 3 cards per turn or whatever. It's like, it's insane. But yeah, they're all just good. They're all like, they have good arrows for what the deck wants to do to co-link stuff and everything, and get you extra draws and stuff on their effects. But very, very good. Just utility cards. I still played in Girsu. This card's just really cool. He's just a non-target, non-destruction out to something, and I still value that for sure. So Dragoon or something, if I can bait and negate and then go into this, I can out Dragoon fairly easily, which is nice. So yeah, I just felt like he was worth there. And you can even potentially summon him pointing to 1 or 2 World Chalice monsters to draw some cards while doing it, so you actually like don't go minus. And then for the link 4s, I do play 1 Appaloosa, Bow of the Goddess, 1 Access Code Togger. I still don't have one. I know is expensive. I'm sorry. You can play Boral Sword if you want, but you do need something that allows you to help OTK. I would advise it at least. And then 1 Mech Knight Crusadia, Avarice. This is just another really cool control card, because sometimes you have the ability to like make a link 2 or a 2 material Appaloosa, but sometimes I'm like, I'd rather just make Avarice at that point. He's just harder to out. I know the deck I'm playing against, they're really going to struggle to get him off the field. I'd rather just go Avarice. Oh, Avarice. Which is really good. So also with access code, one of the biggest reasons he's insanely good is because you can link Lib into him, make Lib chainlink 1 and then him chainlink 2, and your opponent cannot respond to him, which means they cannot do anything to Lib. Even if they had a Called by the Grave, they could not call the Lib to negate her effect. You're getting that shuffle no matter what. And I really, really like that. So if your opponent has something like a Dragoon on field, you could just like link Lib into this. Lib chainlink 1, access code chainlink 2, and they can't even respond with the Dragoon, and the Dragoon just gets shuffled. Gone. They didn't even get a chance to negate anything with it. And that's like kind of insane. So that is it for the extra deck. That's it pretty much for the deck profile as a whole. A couple things I want to note real quick is there were some cards I really like. I do like Orem and Ib, but the problem with these is, one, Orem is better for the draw 6 combo. If you're playing the super wombo draw 6 kind of version of this deck, he's a must-have in my opinion. He's very good. His arrows are nice because a lot of your arrows point down and up and to the sides, but not diagonal. So he's very nice to have for that. While Ib is just better to have a generic card that points to the left and the right, which we literally don't have in this deck for Link 2. You have Phoenix and Cerberus, which point left or right, but not both, so they're a little bit less versatile. I would say if I had one extra slot in the deck, I would play Ib, and then if I had 2, I'd play Orem. But it is what it is. I think I'm pretty happy with the extra deck. They don't come up that often where I'm like, man, I really wish I had Ib. But they can theoretically. And if you wanted to try and cut something, like I said, Avermax isn't mandatory. If you think Appaloosa access code is better than Avermax, you could drop Avermax. If you don't want to play Cerberus, you could drop Cerberus. Totally understandable there. But a lot of the other stuff I do think is mandatory, especially if you're playing the Lib stuff. If you're playing the deck based around Lib, I think you have to keep Lib in, especially at 2, and roll with the punches there. But those are just some things I wanted to note there. I get it. I get it if you think this deck is a little bit lower ceiling, but a lot of times you end on at least 4 disruptions, which is just like really, really strong in my opinion. Sometimes you can make Avermax with IP and Lib, so you can like IP Lib into Appaloosa under Avermax, and now you have like a 2 negate Appaloosa, and your opponent can't attack Appaloosa. So there's no just clearing it over because it's only 16 or 800. So those are pretty much 2 almost guaranteed monster negates after you've already done a shuffle, and you probably have you probably also had a Omni negate with the World Legacy Sorrow as well. So you actually make some pretty cool boards. I really like the deck. If you guys want to, let me know, and I can do a test hands / like combo tutorial with this deck specifically and showing you guys what this deck is aimed to do. I can definitely do that for you. Let me know in the comment section down below, though, if you want to see that. And if you made it this far, subscribe to the channel. I mean, just like, it makes sense. Like, if you made it this far, you enjoyed yourself, I'm going to bring you more content like this, whether it's World Chalice or other decks I love. So just subscribe for that if you want to see more of that action. And I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't. Peace.